Hello there, Itro here. Today we're going to be having a quick look at the new resources that came with the tourism DLC, and in particular we're going to be having a quick look at the consumption and production rates of the orchards and the consumption rates that are utilized in some of the buildings like the cafes and restaurants and the Iron Tower. So with the tourism DLC we'll have a quick look at the simple ones. We're going to have a quick look at the cafes, restaurants and bars. Now each of the recipes that you can choose from the individual books will all have a certain requirement of items to be input in. Now the consumption rate for each of these is it's going to be consuming a 1 ton of that particular resource. Now that 1 ton of resources does not go up or down depending on how many people you actually are covering. So a restaurant or cafe that is covering this area here with all these people covering it is going to be consuming the same 1 ton as a cafe or restaurant on this island, which might only be covering a fraction of what the other one is consuming. It will literally just cover 1 ton's worth of resources for each of these items, and it'll cover everything in this area. So 1 ton of resources. So if we have a quick look at the citrus is going to be one that you're going to be using quite a lot of because it's going to be utilizing a lot of different items. Specifically, you're going to be using it in the restaurants and the Iron Tower, and you're going to be using a lot of it for the lemonade for the tourists as well. So if we understand that we need 1 ton of resources for the tourists' recipes, how much does an actual orchard make? So if we have a look at the New World over here, I've set down an orchard here, which is at 100% productivity. Now with the orchards, there are no items in game that you can actually put down in a trade union and boost the actual productivity up. You can adjust working conditions, increase it, but we'll just have a look at base level 100. And the citrus that we're getting from this island is going to be 2 tons for 100% productivity. So if we increase working conditions up to 50%, that's going to get us up to 3 tons. So anywhere from 2 to 3 tons depending on how much working conditions you are actually adjusting. So let's have a look back over here. So now we know exactly how much one of the orchards is going to cover. We know that each of the restaurants, depending on what item we're going to be looking at here. So if we have a look at the Montmartre, we're going to be using 1 ton of champagne, 1 ton of citrus, and 1 ton of sugar. Now these are going to be very easy to get a hold of, and the citrus is going to be a bit slower. However, you're not going to be using a huge amount because, as you can see, the range on the actual cafes and restaurants are quite wide. So if we have a look at some of the other resources over here, again, we're not using too many resources here. If we have a look at the actual restaurant book here, let's go through the pages. Again, hibiscus, petals, most of the items you're going to be are very easy to obtain. It's the orchard ones which are going to be very far and few between. It's going to be most likely the more preferential drinks or food that you're going to be looking to make. So I have down on the island, let's have a quick look here. I have all those cafes, and the donut and eclair aren't using any of the citrus. The bar is going to be using 2 tons from the Montmartre, and we have the restaurant over here, and we are using 3 tons of citrus, 1 in the fish and frites and 2 in the lobster dish. So that would bring us up to 9 tons of citrus being consumed. So if we had a look at that, that would be 3 orchards to cover all of the cafes and restaurants with the buffs that I currently have selected, if we have them running at 100% productivity and the 50% from the working conditions. Now, the other place we're going to be consuming the actual orchard items is in the chemical factories. Now, the chemical factories are going to produce a lot of materials from a little input. Now, the actual base level input for a chemical factory, which isn't being boosted by electricity and is not being adjusted by working conditions, so just at 100% productivity. Now, you can't utilize other items like ferrous or anything on these items either. The only thing you can do for altering productivity is working conditions and electricity. However, at 0 electricity and just 100% base productivity, you're going to be consuming 2 tons of citrus to produce the lemonade. Now, with the electricity up and running, that is going to go up and double to 4 tons of citrus. So depending on how many actual factories you have down, you're going to need to increase your orchards. Now, the amount of lemonade that you need is not particularly very much, and I just have a couple of factories over here, all running with electricity and lots of inputs here, and we have 20,000 tons of lemonade here that we're just not getting through at all. So you don't really need a lot of lemonade or the shampoo or any of the actual items from the chemical factory, which we are going to have the souvenirs, lemonade and shampoo. Now, the last place we're going to be looking at utilizing the orchard items is in the iron tower. Now, the iron tower is a interesting item because there are a couple of things you can look at this here. The iron tower requires electricity to be up and running, and that'll get you up to 200% base productivity. And then we also have, as you can see, this circle here. You can apply up to 5,000 extra tourists to increase the range of the buff from the iron tower out from there all the way to there. Now, the iron tower is similar to its inputs requirements as the restaurants and cafes. Doesn't matter if you have electricity running or how much you increase the range with the extra tourists down here to increase the range. It is only going to be utilizing an input of 1 ton of citrus here. So it doesn't matter whether it's going to be this wide or that small on the range. You're going to be covering just 1 ton of citrus input for this whole range out here. So if you're going to be looking for the biggest and best bang for the buck, the iron tower is going to be able to cover a huge island with a buff with just a very small amount of input of resources. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do, I do appreciate any likes on the videos and any subscriptions to the channels, and feel free to comment down below if there's any videos you would like me to cover off next. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.